All right, back to the NFL, more preseason action, Browns and Rams. And the Browns, as you know, are going with the familiar at quarterback, 40-year-old Joe Flacco, their starter, after coming off his couch, leading them to the playoffs a couple of years ago, going 4-1 down the stretch. So that leaves rookies, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders in the mix, with Sanders coming off an oblique injury, Kenny Pickett unable to play this preseason because of a hamstring injury, all of which leads us to our Browns reporter, Daniel Oafusi, who joins us now from Cleveland. So the Browns have to determine who their backup is going to be, and they don't have a lot of time to do it, Daniel. What's Kevin Stefanski's plan?
Good morning, Hannah. The Browns are treating today's preseason finale as a dress rehearsal for week one. So for the first time all preseason, you're going to see newly named starting quarterback Joe Flacco. He's going to get about 20 to 25 snaps with the offense. Dillon Gabriel is going to be the backup today. He's going to play second, and then Shedeur Sanders will play third at some point likely in the second half.
So you recently spoke with Shedeur Sanders, I know, Daniel. Currently, they have an unofficial depth chart. You can't read too much into it, but he is fourth on that unofficial depth chart. What did he have to say to you about being in a backup position?
Yeah, Sanders spoke to the media on Friday, and I asked him specifically what his mindset is as a backup, and he's really embracing what lies ahead. He said he's been talking a lot with Tyler Huntley, who was added this summer, about what it takes to be prepared and ready as a backup. He noted that this is the first time that he's not going to be a starter since the COVID season at Jackson State, but he's really embracing everything that comes with it. He said, I look at it as it just gives me more time to cook and more time to warm up.
Hey, you got to love the positive attitude. Browns are prepared, they say, to carry 4 quarterbacks. They host the Bengals 2 weeks from tomorrow in their opener, so they better get that backup solidified. Daniel, thank you.
We have Jeremy Fowler here with us in the studio to give us some more insight on the Cowboys. And Jeremy, the next game for the Cowboys is going to be week 1 at Philly on Thursday, September 4th, the defending world champs. What's the team saying about the possibility of having Micah Parsons play in that game?
They're trying to stay optimistic. Despite all the posturing, all the game playing with Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, Dallas still feels like Micah Parsons is getting himself ready to play week 1, and that there's still a chance that they can find a long-term deal and extension somewhere, despite the lack of real substantial contract talk. They believe that closer to 10 to 12 days in, they can figure something out. One source equated to Nick Bosa a couple years ago with San Francisco. He signed like 4 days before week 1 kickoff. They got a deal done. Sometimes these things are ugly. They take turns. Now, meanwhile, Dallas has gotten multiple inquiries from teams on a potential Micah Parsons trade. There is definitely interest. They're not really entertaining it, though. They want Micah Parsons in uniform. Does he want to be in uniform is a big question.
Well, he was taking a nap on the sideline last night, so
Nachos, yeah.
Just pay the man already. All right, so we have also had a trade within the conference. Brian Robinson, I mean, he has been with Washington for a minute now, been that guy over there, but now he's heading over to San Francisco. So why was that trade put together?
Well, for San Fran, it was pretty easy. They were decimated by injuries in their backfield behind Christian McCaffrey, so they just wanted depth. They wanted a strong goal line, short yardage back who can get you some touchdowns. So B-Rob walks in there in a good situation. They paid a little bit of his $3 million salary, but Washington covered some of it. Win-win for San Fran. And for Washington, this crystallizes their backfield. They really like the rookie Bill Krosky-Merritt. When you talk to people over there about their offense, he comes up early and often in conversations. Austin Eckler's your third down back. They have some depth behind him that they like. So it's going to be a by-committee approach. They realized that Robinson wasn't in those plans, so they made a quick move and got a 6th-round pick out of it.
I also think it's fascinating how Brian Robinson Jr. is on that team, the same that Pearson, but he was on that team as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so final preseason games are today. What is the Browns' plan at the quarterback position against the Rams with them opening against Cincy?
Yeah, so they're close to finalizing their plans in the quarterback room. They could keep 4 quarterbacks, but today could be a determining factor depending on how it goes with the rookies. Joe Flacco will get some reps. They're thinking 20 to 25 reps for the starters in the 3rd preseason game. And then you go to Dillon Gabriel, who'll get the 2nd crack at it, the rookie 3rd-round pick. And then you got Shedeur Sanders. He will get some run. Kenny Pickett's still hurt, so he's somewhere in this equation, but he's been banged up for really the last month. So the question is, do the Browns carry him on the roster? Did they maybe put him on short-term IR, give him 4 weeks to start the season? But the feeling right now is they like how Gabriel and Sanders are developing. I don't expect them to
Other than I'm about them. I'm about those guys in the locker room. And then I'm ready to do anything it takes to win. We were a 3-14 team last year, so we got nothing to lose, everything to prove to ourselves. So I'm ready for opportunity every week. The NFL, it's a place that you want to play in. It's the 1% of the world. And so, everybody in that locker room, when it comes to, week one we play Denver, we're going to try to go out there and go get a win.
Love the way he puts that in perspective. Football analyst Sam Acho with us now. What were your impressions and your early impressions overall of Cam Ward as an NFL quarterback?
Cam Ward is in advanced classes. He doesn't look like a rookie. He hasn't looked like a rookie all preseason long. There are a few throws, not only this week, but even earlier in the preseason, that just jumped off of the screen. You talk about all of his arm talent, but it shows off. He's throwing from the far hash, a deep out route, and it's on the money to Van Jefferson, the player who we missed last time. Then you have that sidearm pass. First, I thought it was a no look, but he actually just changed his arm angle. What I'm seeing from Cam Ward is the protection that you would have hoped. His offensive line is giving him time, and though the stats don't tell the full story, the arm talent does.
And he's going to see one of the NFL's very best defenses right away. Wow, talk about getting thrown into the fire. Broncos are 8-point favorites at home in that opener. All right, let's pivot to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, looking to be right back in top form. What did you think of his performance last night?
He looks like he's on a revenge tour. Patrick Mahomes, yes, you could see what he does with his arm as a passer, but I was more impressed by some of the runs that he had throughout this preseason. He was more decisive as a runner, looked a little bit more athletic, if you will. Now, he hasn't been known for his athleticism, but this ability to not only to get your entire team on the right page, you see the deep passes, see some short passes, see him making decisions, but also the protection. Josh Simmons, the first-round pick from Ohio State at left tackle, that looked good as well. So I'm impressed by this Kansas City Chiefs football team. They've addressed their weaknesses in the offensive line, and Mahomes looks like he's ready for more.
Yeah, really sharp, and he said it was great to get out there and just really put on display all the work they've been doing behind the scenes in the preseason. They open up in Brazil against the Chargers on September 5th. All right, let's go to Caleb Williams now. Listen, everyone went crazy, right? He showed some encouraging signs in the Week 2 preseason, but last night he showed he's a work in progress. What did you take away from that performance?
Caleb Williams was very sloppy last night from the first play really to as long as he was in there. The first play was a fumble. He fumbled the snap on somewhat of a jet sweep motion. And then after that, you saw a couple sacks that were unnecessary, even a couple misses. That's not what you want to see in your last preseason opportunity to show what you can do. And another thing's a little thing, but a big thing, even just some of the uniform stuff. Look at the socks that are halfway down. He did the same thing last week. You saw DeAndre Swift do the same thing as well. It's not a huge deal, but when you're looking at a franchise quarterback, a leader of the team, you want to be in full uniform. You want to be a guy that other teammates can look to, and it's something that you can point to when you do have penalties and you're sloppy. You're saying, man, this guy doesn't even focus on the little things. So those are two things, the sloppiness from his play and trying to focus on the little things.
Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective from you. The Bears host the Vikings in Week 1 on Monday Night Football as 2-point home underdogs. Sam Acho, back with you in just a bit.
Kansas. Bring back our college football analyst, Sam Acho, with us. And Sam, I don't think Iowa State is looking for 276 yards out of Abu, but what can we expect from him taking on Kansas State?
Well, we can expect a physical type of attack. Iowa State wants to be physical. They want to be downhill, and so Abu Sama is going to have opportunities to really run through a Kansas State defense that can be porous at times. They play a 3-3-5 type of scheme, which means they're strong on the interior, but with more defensive backs on the field. They need to be better when it comes to tackling in space. Now, the bigger issue is this. If the run game does get going for Sama, expect Rocco Beck to be able to spread the ball all over the field and attack the defense in their pass coverage. So that's the problem when it comes to trying to stop or slow down Iowa State. They want to be physical, but they have a veteran quarterback in Rocco Beck who can beat you in multiple ways.
So as we look ahead from the individual performances to really marquee matchup, few stand out more, obviously, than Texas and Ohio State, which is now just 1 week away from today. Sam, you know that Texas defense really well. You played for that Texas defense. Who do you think has the edge, in your opinion, in this matchup?
I think the Texas defense has the edge in this matchup for a multitude of reasons. I'll start with Colin Simmons. He was a freshman last year who led the team in sacks with 8. He was named the Sean Alexander National
you.